into the committee of the whole. The report that we will be given today is a very brief discussion on the superintendent search and update. And I ask the audience as well as any interested party to please go to the DeKalb County website. And on that website, you will see a timeline, and the timeline items that of significance at this point I want to bring to your attention. One, the deadline for candidates who were interested in applying to our search firm would be April 10. So after April 10th, the other significant part of the process would take place. The week of April the 13th, the full board will conduct the first round of interviews. April 20th, the board will determine the finalists and conduct comprehensive background checks. Early May, full board interviews with finalists, community engagement liaison committee interviews, public interviews during the early week of May. And then the superintendent will be named after May 10th. That's the present timeline. At this time, I'll ask my colleague to bring us up to date on the involvement of the liaison group and the meetings that we've had.
Thank you, Chair. So the liaison group has had 3 meetings so far. One was here at our headquarters a month ago, and then we've just had our second conference call this week. Our national search firm has done a good job educating everyone on the Citizens Liaison Group regarding the process, has updated. Did you go over the numbers about who's?
No.
So, and it's okay to say, right?
I just go, yeah.
So we've got 85 applicants to be the next superintendent of DeKalb County Schools. The projection, since we have 9 more days, April 10th is the deadline, as posted on our website. It is projected that we'll have close to 100 applicants. And with that, the energy behind the Citizens Liaison Group is high, and everybody feels empowered and looks forward to being a part of the process, vetting those final candidates. And so that's where we were. Our next scheduled conference is on the 13th, Monday the 13th, and then that will prepare us for the heavy lifting, which happens the week of the 20th, which Chairman Johnson just alluded to. So that's the latest update from the Citizens Liaison Group. It's a very collaborative, supportive, high-energy group of folks that is, I'm proud to be a part of.
I have been very impressed with the liaison group and their involvement because of their excitement and their willingness to be a part of that particular group, and it's certainly a positive sign, and they feel very qualified as well as interested in selecting the next superintendent, and certainly they are very proud that they are engaged in the process, and that's very significant on our part. Is there any other discussion from the board or questions you want to raise? Thank you, and that ends our, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just quickly.
Yes.
As we go through this process, I guess one of my major concerns is that as a district, where we started from and where we are in the 2 years and being on a 5-year plan. And it just concerns me that as we have gone through all of this and all the efforts that we've put forth, that we're not looking in a direction of how a continuation and making sure, and I want to make sure that's the case. And looking at, as I said before, sometimes if you don't invite someone to the house, they're probably not going to come to your house, and we have to mean the invitation. But I had major concerns, and you all know this, that with what Mr. Thurman has done and over the last few years, and there's been little public information stated as to what has been done and the gains that not only Mr. Thurman but this board has done over the past couple of years, coming from a deficit, coming from almost losing accreditation and moving forward, that we have to be conscientious of the fact that when you bring in somebody new, they're going to bring in some new things too. They're going to bring in some new people too. And if you're in the midst of a 5-year plan, how do you continue that 5-year plan with someone who has another plan and is not maybe on the same page? As I work with couples, I say one of the greatest things is first you have to be in the same book. You want to be on the same page, but at least be in the same chapter. So I think we have to be conscientious of the fact of being that place. And I just think that when we looked at this, sometimes we want new. New doesn't always mean sure. And sometimes we're looking for green grass, we may wind up with artificial turf. I think that sometimes we have to begin to look at the fact that there should have been, from my perspective and as an educator for so many years and seeing the failure of education throughout this country, is that sometimes we have to leave things where they are, at least approach it. And this new superintendent should have been a process at least going into the next year, and Mr. Thurman being a consultant over a 2-year period to make sure that we carry out the agenda that's in front of us. I would be very disappointed to see us going backwards in the way that we went. Because when you bring someone else in new, they're going to want to do their new things as far as staff, administration, because that's just the way we think as human beings, and that's okay. But I just think that I have heard no one really, and I've said to my constituents too, publicly actually state the great things that have been done here in the last 2 years. We complain and we say all the negatives, but I just believe that there should have been a different approach to this whole superintendency. And I really believe that we should have asked Mr. Thurman and let him publicly and in front of this board say, no, I don't want to be here. And then also allow him to be a part of a consultant to this new superintendent, at least for a year or two before this thing is all over with. So I just want to express my concerns. I don't have children in the school system personally, but I have 100,000 I'm responsible for. I have grandchildren. And anybody's child next door to me. Am I my brothers and sisters' keepers? Yes, I am. And so we have to begin to not look at right now, and I think we've got to get out of the right now mentality and look at the tomorrow mentality. Because if we don't be careful, and we've seen it with this government, DeKalb County government, and all the devastation that keeps taking place. And I live in an area where my housing prices are not going up. As a matter of fact, they're deteriorating. They have not moved. And it really, really bothers me that as educators, and I said to some of the state educators at a colloquium I was at a few weeks ago, we keep changing acronyms. We change the names. We put the curriculum on the shelf for a few days. Even when you want good meat, you let it marinate. But we seem to not want things to marinate. We want a quick fix. We want to move just because that's the thing to do. We move from 9 to 7 boards because that's the way they thought a few years ago. But what's best at this particular time? We look at the legislator. They're not looking at what's best for the particular time and for the children of the future. And every time I turn on the news and I see an African-American boy, male, or whomever, whatever race, creed, or color, that's murdering, being a part of being murdered, something is wrong with that picture. And I still believe that education is the base and the foundation of everything that we do. And I really believe that we should have gone in another direction. So I want to actually state my sentiments that I'm disappointed.
Thank you, Dr. Marley. At this time, it is requested that the Board of Education adjourn the April 1, 2015 Committee of the Whole to an executive session for the purpose of discussing legal and personnel matter. Moved by me, moved by Mr. McMahon, second by Dr. Irwin. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. It's unanimous. We are adjourned.